Okay. So we're on page 249. We might be a little, we've just been talking, having a little chat here, so we might not talk as long tonight. But we're on page 249 of The Heart of the Lotus Sutra by Daisaku Ikeda, on the section that says, our purpose is to lead wonderful lives. This kind of goes right back to what we were just talking about, Gene.
Okay.
All right. Expanding on this idea, on the text, reading the text on page 249. Our purpose is to lead wonderful lives. Expanding on this idea of entering nirvana, of dying, we can say that death, in enabling us to sense life's wonder, is an expedient means for us to lead a rich and fulfilled existence. President Toda lectured on this passage of the sutra. Nothing would be more fearful than to not die. Isn't that the truth? It would be one thing if this concerned only human beings, but if all living beings were to not die, the consequences would be truly calamitous. Suppose that cats and dogs and mice and even octopuses were all were to not die. This would create great problems. If nothing were to die, then what would happen? Even if someone or something were beaten or killed or run over by a train or deprived of food, it would not die. The result would be pandemonium. Thus, for people to not die would be problematic. On the other hand, it would also be problematic if we knew when we were going to die. If we knew, for example, that we had only 3 days left, we would not have time, for example, to sit around like this listening to a lecture. Death is necessary, and the fact that we are not aware of when we will die with any precision makes life interesting. This is mystic, and it is because of the mystic nature of our existence that we come to take faith in the Gohonzon. I'll repeat that. It is because of the mystic nature of our existence that we come to take faith in the Gohonzon. In other words, there's a cause for that. Life is, in fact, very interesting. These words reveal President Toda's great and profound insight into the nature of life and death. Because we die, we can appreciate the wonder of life. We can savor the great joy of being alive. This is truly one of life's essential truths. It would be pointless to be so filled with fear of death that, upon falling sick or being injured, we immediately despair and become depressed. Oh, I'm going to die. At the same time, however, I can't believe that those who claim they didn't mind risking their lives or who say that they are not in the least bit afraid of dying. At the same time, I can't believe those who claim that they don't mind risking their lives or who say they are not in the least a bit afraid of dying. This is nothing more than bravado. So he's basically saying that everything is uncomfortable about death. Everything fears death, but not to be preoccupied by that fear. The most fearful thing of all is inner or spiritual death, losing the desire to lead a truly fulfilled and meaningful life. Norman Cousins, who was dubbed the conscience of America, came to the following conclusion based on his experiences of overcoming a number of grave illnesses. Death is not the ultimate tragedy of life. The ultimate tragedy is depersonalization. No one can escape death. Precisely because of this, when people resolve to live each instant with all their might to make the present moment shine by living true to themselves and leading genuinely human existences, they can summon immense strength. At the same time, they can display a considerate spirit toward others. Herein lies the wondrous nature of life and the middle way. Buddhism is the philosophy that teaches this essential way of life. And what is the essence of this thought? What is the Buddhist concept that is the essence of what he just discussed? Is Honin-myo, which is begin from now. It's this moment is the only moment that exists. As long as you're staying in the now, you're not looking into the future, okay? Needlessly worrying about things that have not yet come to pass, okay? You have confidence that you're in control and you're building and you're gaining in momentum and strength in this moment, in this moment, in this moment. And therefore, the future is not something you have to worry about. It will be whatever it is. You have the strength to overcome whatever might need to be overcome. You have the fortune to enjoy whatever there will be to enjoy. You don't worry about what that will be. You let it come to you. Okay? And you don't lament the past. Okay? So that's what he's basically saying here, is don't worry about death. Death is going to come to everybody. It's not something that you can avoid. It's not something that you can delay. It's not something that you know when it will occur. It has a function. There's a reason why death exists. It's not an evil, dark, bad, terrible thing. It's part of life. It's part of the rhythm of life. It's something that is necessary. He just gave a practical way of understanding why it is necessary. The earth could not sustain limitless life in all living things. Period. Okay? No environment could. So the environment can continue to be alive. The living things in it must perish. Must cyclical recycle. The plants do that seasonally, don't they?
Yes.
The ocean does that with the ebb and flow of the tides. It's all about that. Going on to page 251. Pardon me. 253, chapter 21. I'll start with the Romaji. Zeiko nyorai iho ben setsubi kutochi sho bushu se nan kachigu shoi shaga sho hakutoko nin ka murio hayakusin man noko waka ukin butsu waka fu kinsha ishiji ko ga sa zegan sho biku norai nan ka token shishu joto manzo Manyo Zego, Hito Shozo, Nanzo Shiso, Shine Rinbo, Katsugo, Obutsu, Binshu Zingan, Zeiko Nyorai, Suifu Jitsumetsu, Nigon Metsudo, Uzen Nanchi, Shobutsu Nyorai, Hokai, Nyoze, Ido Shujo, Kaijitsu Fuko. I'll read the Romaji translated into English. Therefore, as an expedient means, the thus come one says, monks, you should know that it is a rare thing to live at a time when one of the Buddhas appears in the world. Why does he do this? Because persons of shallow virtue may pass immeasurable hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, millions of kalpas, with some of them chancing to see a Buddha and others never seeing one at all. For this reason, I say to them, monks, the thus come one is hard to get to see. When living beings hear these words, they are certain to realize how difficult it is to encounter a Buddha. In their minds, they will harbor a longing and will thirst to gaze upon the Buddha, and then they will work to plant good roots. Therefore, the thus come one, though in truth he does not enter extinction, speaks of passing into extinction. Good men, the Buddhas, the thus come ones, all act in such a manner. They act in order to save living beings, so what they say is true and not false. That's talking about you as well, correct? Do you understand that? That's why there's the S on Buddhas and thus come ones. The plurality is you. It's all of us that understand that truth based on the Buddhism of the sowing. This passage explains how irreplaceable and supremely worthy is a life that forms a connection with the Buddha. It is most rare to live when a Buddha is in the world. People with little accumulated merit may fail to see a Buddha, the passage says, even with the passing of immeasurable hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, millions of kalpas. This suggests just how difficult it is to form a connection with Buddhism. Now let's think about that. Okay? Say I'm living in Afghanistan. Or I could be living in France for that matter. It doesn't matter. Wherever you're talking about. You could be living in a place where you never encounter Nam-myoho Renge-kyo or anybody that chants very easily, okay? And you could die and go back into Ku, and you might come out again, having never had that relationship. Will you again in this lifetime? In that next lifetime? Probably not. Do you understand? Again, we who have been so fortunate as to encounter the law don't think that much of it, because somebody walked up to us and told us about it, and we embraced it, and we listened, and we're still doing it, and so forth. We don't view it as something that is so difficult. But if you think about the, how many billion? 5.6, 5.5, 6 billion people on Earth?
7.
Okay, excuse me. I don't know. 7 billion people on Earth, and we understand how many people are really chanting the Daimoku. There are billions of people on Earth right now that don't have the fortune that we have to encounter or embrace Nam-myoho Renge-kyo. They'll never have the opportunity even to. They will never encounter a Buddha. Who's a Buddha? Somebody that perceives that they are Buddha. How would you perceive that you're the Buddha? Only by having been introduced to the Buddhism of the sowing, which teaches that you are. Okay? So if there are only millions of us, and there are billions of people in the world, of others, then you can understand the rarity, as it's expressed here, is actually genuine and true. Now you say, well, oh, what about Kosen Rufu? But, well, we're not there yet, are we? No. It gives you an idea and a concept of how far away we are from Kosen Rufu. A third of the population of 7 billion is 2.6 or something like that, whatever. Okay. Billion? So, understand that. We take it for granted. That's why we should always have appreciation and enjoy to the Gohonzon for the fact that we have embraced and encountered the law. Okay, Shakyamuni says, monks, the thus come one is hard to get to see. We cannot envision Shakyamuni boldly conveying these words as his will for the... Pardon me. Can we not envision Shakyamuni boldly conveying these words as his will for the future? All right. Now, again, I would also convey to you how many people have started to practice and quit. How many people have become aware of Daisaku Ikeda and turned their back on that teaching? Lots and lots and lots and lots. Okay? So, even with the Buddha in the world, even encountering the Buddha, the fortune to be able to perceive the Buddha nature is even more rare still. Okay? So it's so rare to even encounter a Buddha, it's still more rare yet to embrace a Buddha. Do you understand? All right, so he says, Buddhism teaches the importance of one's debt to the mentor, who literally channels every ounce of energy into training disciples to enable them to overcome arrogance and dependency and advancing along the correct and grand path of faith equals daily life. The passage brings home the disciples' immense debt of gratitude to the Buddha. Upon hearing these words, Shakyamuni's disciples no doubt aroused a genuine seeking spirit, solemnly determining to rectify their attitude in Buddhist practice and to receive with their entire being the teaching of the mentor so rarely encountered. So, again, now, who is Shakyamuni saying this to? He's saying it to the assembly at Eagle Peak, right? This is from the 16th chapter, right? Yeah. So he's saying this to the assembly at Eagle Peak. These are all disciples of Shakyamuni. Why would he have to tell them? Because they too are spoiled and dependent and do not perceive the true aspect of reality. Okay? They don't perceive the truth that the Buddha is a very rare thing to encounter. They're all indulged in the fact that they've been hanging with him. They've been walking here and there. They get to hear him. They get to ask questions. Doesn't seem like any big deal. That he's qualifying for all future ages. Never think that this is something that's simple. Never think this is something that's easy. Never think this is something that occurs by chance. It absolutely must be gained. It's a merit. It's a merit. Okay? It's a reflection of good fortune, good roots. That's how he describes it. Good roots. So he says, possessing such a seeking spirit produces... Oh, I really didn't know it was there. Possessing such a seeking spirit produces good roots in our lives and enables us to establish a state of indestructible happiness. What is to establish a state of allows us? What is this? What does that sentence say? Possessing such a seeking spirit produces good roots in our lives and enables us to establish a state of indestructible happiness. What's that saying? Indestructible happiness is to bring forth the state of Buddhahood. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay. By manifesting such a seeking mind, persons of shallow virtue become persons of merit and virtue. I'm a perfect example of that. Okay? Absolutely. By manifesting such a seeking spirit, Persons of shallow virtue, which I acknowledge myself to be, my transient state, become persons of merit and virtue. So there's no implication of what you begin with is what you're going to end up as. You absolutely are going to transform as a human being. All right? From a deluded common mortal to an enlightened Buddha. Thus come one. All right? This is thanks to the Buddha's great compassion and constitutes salvation in the truest sense. How? Why? Because if the original Buddha hadn't had the desire to seek and make all others equal to himself, you wouldn't be chanting Nam-myoho Renge-kyo, and what I just said about you wouldn't be the case. That would have never been revealed to you. You don't have the merit to be taught by the law. You need a teacher. All right? So, that's his great compassion and constitutes salvation. Do you understand? You've created a relationship that will not be broken. If the Buddha raised people to be dependent on him, which he does not, neither does Daisaku Ikeda, it would not contribute in the least to their actual liberation from suffering. Do you understand? Because they wouldn't be the Buddha, and liberation from suffering comes from being the Buddha. They would still think it's something that it isn't. Do you understand? All right. People possess, genuine salvation is accomplished only by raising people of correct faith, which is what we're trying to do around this table. That is, people possessing both self-reliance and an earnest mind to seek the way. Only thus can the Buddha's desire to liberate all people from suffering be fulfilled. It's exactly what I was just saying to you. That is saying exactly what I was just saying to you. It only comes when you take care of yourself, when you have put yourself in a position to be able to share that you can share that. You can't share happy talk. Chant, just chant. If you can't substantiate it any further than that, if you can't put the philosophy to wrap around that requested chant, it's going to lose a lot of its merit and its ability to save others. All right? Chanting Nam-myoho Renge-kyo is the greatest good cause, at the top of page 255. In terms of the teaching hidden in the depths, the Buddha is the Nam-myoho Renge-kyo, thus come one, or Nichiren Daishonin himself. I've already said that, but now President Ikeda has qualified it as a declarative. All right? Do you understand? So when we talk about anything hidden in the depths, when we talk about the 16th chapter, we're talking about the Shakyamuni hidden in the depths. We are talking about Nichiren Daishonin. All right? When we talk about anything that's hidden in the depths, we're talking about something that has to do with the Buddhism of sowing. All right? In terms of the teaching hidden in the depths, the Buddha is the Nam-myoho Renge-kyo, thus come one, or Nichiren Daishonin himself, the Gohonzon. And persons of shallow virtue indicates the people of the latter day of the law, us. Nichiren prayed for all the people of the latter day to become people of merit and virtue, and he entered extinction as an expedient means to guide them along this path. Through his passing, he taught the people of the latter day the truth that the thus come one is hard to get to see. And for all those who could not meet him, Nichiren manifested the great life of Nam-myoho Renge-kyo, his true identity, in the form of the Gohonzon, which he bestowed upon all people of the latter day. How vast indeed is the mercy of the original Buddha. Accordingly, we should read the passage in their minds. They will harbor a longing and will thirst to gaze upon the Buddha, and then they will work to plant good roots. As describing us, the people of the latter day, a mind that harbors a longing for the Buddha and thirsts to gaze upon the Buddha is a mind of strong faith in the Gohonzon. And to plant good roots is to chant the mystic law, Nam-myoho Renge-kyo, as indicated of the record of orally transmitted teachings, which says, the term good roots refers to the Daimoku. Encountering the Gohonzon is tantamount to meeting the original Buddha. You should all understand that. That's so key. I've been so blessed to understand that from the beginning. When you're in front of the Gohonzon, that's the same thing as being in Minobu. It's the same thing as being on Eagle Peak. It's the same thing as whatever the highest level of teaching will be. That's when your true identity comes forth, because it fuses with the Gohonzon so that that true identity can come forth. Do you understand? When that identity comes forth, the wisdom to perceive that identity comes forth. One precedes the other. You don't become aware of that identity without Daimoku. Daimoku is what creates the ability to perceive that identity. You don't perceive that identity and then chant Daimoku. Do you understand? All right. So he's saying encountering the Gohonzon is tantamount to meeting the original Buddha. Our having met the Gohonzon is due to a profound and mystic relationship. So it isn't because somebody shakabuku'd them. It's because of the merit they already had themselves. They got shakabuku'd because of that merit. That was a continuum. Do you understand? Right?
So they come to you.
They come to you, or you come to them. You pick them out. But it's their merit that made you pick them out. Okay? And it's not up to you whether they listen to you and embrace. But you still plant the seed every time, everywhere. The bodhisattvas of the earth will immediately take faith and give rise to their practice. Those that don't, you've planted the seed. They'll probably end up as your children someday. Something like that. Okay? So, it is extremely rare. Nichiren says it is extremely rare to be born as a human being. Extremely rare. Not only are you endowed with human form, but you have had the rare fortune to encounter Buddhism. Moreover, out of the Buddha's many teachings, you have encountered the Daimoku, or the title of the Lotus Sutra, and become its votary. Truly, you are a person who has offered alms to 100,000 million Buddhas in his past existences. Okay? And who is he talking about there? Us. Absolutely. Us. Each one of us have truly, you are a person who has offered. So he's guaranteeing that the merit that you possess in being able to go as far as he just said, if you're able to embrace out of all the teachings, you embrace the title. Out of all the teachings, you became a votary of the Lotus Sutra. Then surely you have absolutely already offered alms to 100,000 million Buddhas in past existences. But you don't perceive yourself that way. Huh?
You're special.
You must perceive yourself that way. I'm saying, in general, people do not. You may, that's correct. That's correct. The correct perception is to perceive yourself exactly as described. If you don't perceive yourself as described, if you doubt how could that be, then you're lacking the faith necessary to push you over the wall. We who have encountered the Gohonzon are no longer people of shallow virtue. So if you consider yourself of shallow virtue, you're slandering your own life. The original Buddha declares that we are people of great merit and virtue who have formed connections with an incalculable number of Buddhas in the past. He's saying the original Buddha is teaching this. He's right. Nichiren said that. I just read it in the paragraph above. How mystic indeed are our lives. What a profound mission we possess. To teach us this, Nichiren Daishonin led a life of great struggle and died as a truly exemplary human being. He conducted himself as he did in order to guide all people. His conduct, in every respect, qualifies in the words of the sutra as true and not false. SGI members are proving this through their faith. Through their faith, not through their activities. President Toda once remarked, we should deeply appreciate and take pride in our being able to spend the remaining 20 or 30 years, or perhaps 40 or 50 years of our lives filled with joy in having met the Gohonzon, which is rarely encountered even once in millions or tens of millions of years. Throughout our lives, let us advance with dignity along the path of the bodhisattvas of the earth, further deepening our unique relationship with the Buddha and working to accomplish the Buddha's decree. Yeah. Okay, how are we doing on time?
9.
It is 9 now?
Yeah.
Okay, well then I'll stop. I was ready to continue. We'll just start on chapter 22 next week.
2 weeks later.
2 weeks later. Okay, we got, Chinese New Year. All right, so we'll start on page 257, chapter 22 next time we see you. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you.